Good morning, students. So today we are going to start with the new topic of pollination. In case if there are any doubts with the last two classes, I request you to please note down all those doubts which you have, and as soon as we meet when this lockdown gets over, I'll be dealing all with your doubts then. So let's move over to the next topic, that is pollination. Pollination, if you remember the first chapter, we have already learned that plants, flowering plants and the gymnosperms, some of them are exceptional. So flowering plants are the only organisms which produce even a non-motile male gamete. So they have to be transferred. So then how will they be transferred? According to the first chapter, if you remember, they are carried by the pollen grain and then carried by an agent, and finally the pollen tube will carry them to the female gamete. So in flowering plants, male gametes and female gametes are produced in the pollen grains and embryo sacs respectively. Since both gametes are non-motile, they have to be brought together for fertilization to occur. This is achieved by pollination. Now there are various types of pollination: autogamy, geitonogamy, xenogamy. So let's talk about these. The transfer of the pollen grain from the anther to the stigma surface of a flower is called as pollination. It is a prerequisite for ensuring seed set and for the continuation of species. It is of following types. So the first type is autogamy. Autogamy is a type of pollination in which same flower is used. So the pollen grains of the anther of the stigma, when released, they land on this of the stamen, and they land on the stigma of the same flower. So it is genetically involving only one individual. So it is a self pollination genetically, and because there are no agents involved in this process, it is called as ecologically also as a self-pollination. There are no agents involved, there is no mingling of the or mixing of the gene. That's why it is called as a pure self-pollination. Now how do the plants ensure autogamy? So first method to ensure autogamy is homogamy. Now what is homogamy? Homo means together or same. So when both the sex organs of a flower mature at the same time, it is called as homogamy. Or the second way possibility is bringing both the sex organs close to each other. So there is a plant called as 4 o'clock plant. Scientific name is mirabilis. In this plant, filament bends, and as the filament bends, it comes closer to the stigma. So it brings the anther closer to the stigma so that autogamy can be ensured. Similarly, in the periwinkle is vinca rosa, and potato solanum tuberosum, growth or the bending of the style take place. So that means the style will cause stigma to bend over and come close to the anther so that the pollen grains can be picked. So when two sex organs of the same flower is involved, it is called as autogamy. This method is called as the homogamy under autogamy. Second possibility is there are some plants in which flowers never open. Such a mechanism is called as cleistogamy. Cleistogamy is a type of autogamy in which the flowers never open. If you refer to NCERT, there are examples given in Camelina, bengalensis and Viola. In these plants, flowers never open. Viola produces, let me show you from the NCERT itself. So you can refer to the NCERT page, similar page, and you can read there Oxalis and Camelina, they produce two types of flowers, opening flowers as well as the closed flowers. Another method possible in plants is bud pollination. There are some plants in which flowers do open to expose their sex organ, but the maturity and the release of the pollen grains from the anther and pollination on the stigma takes place before the opening of the flower. So flowers will open, but pollination is already done in which stage? Bud stage. This mechanism is called as bud pollination. It is common among poaceae or grasses or the common cereals such as wheat and rice. The next type of pollination possible is geitonogamy. It takes place between two flowers of the same plant. So because it's the same plant again, so genetically it is self-pollination, but because the pollen grains have to be carried from one flower to the stigma of the another flower of the same plant, so there are agents required. That's why it is called as ecologically a cross-pollination. Another method possible is xenogamy. Xenogamy is a type of pollination in which two different flowers of two individual plants are involved. So because there is involvement of agent, it is ecologically cross-pollination, and because two different individual plants are involved, it is genetically is also cross-pollination. So autogamy is a pure self-pollination, xenogamy is a pure cross-pollination, and geitonogamy is a mixture of both. Now some books will refer allogamy as combination of both. So how do plants ensure xenogamy? The first possibility for the plant is to have unisexual flowers. It is also called as dicliny. So what is dicliny? If you remember, in the last class I have explained this topic to you, that the plants can have unisexual flowers in this method or otherwise in this method. In monoecious plants, unisexual flowers are born on the same individual, and in dioecious plants, unisexual flowers are born on the different individuals. Now in this case, self-pollination, autogamy is not possible because flowers are unisexual, but geitonogamy is possible because the anther may open up and pollen grains may land on the stigma of the female flower. So this method can ensure, monoecious condition can ensure only one thing, that autogamy does not take place, but it cannot stop geitonogamy. And geitonogamy is also genetically self-pollination. This method is a better method because it will ensure that both autogamy as well as geitonogamy does not take place. It will ensure that only one method is possible, and that is between two different individual plants. So it will ensure always cross-pollination. So first method is dicliny. It can be monoeci or dioeci. This will prevent